Here's a full tutorial for the scissor work for this haircut. So after sectioning the top off from the back and the sides, we are going to start with our graduation. I know a lot of people struggle with graduation and scissor work in general, so I'm going to simplify this as much as possible. So our first section is going to go from the temple to the top of the ear, and we're going to go finger tight against the head because this is going to be our first little base length for our taper to blend into later on. From here, as soon as we start working on the round of the head, we're going to be using over direction on the top half of our sections. This is so that we can build a little bit extra weight where the head's rounding to create a square shape when you look at the profile of the head, but also keep a little bit more length so that it can flow back. As the head rounds away, we're going to need more length for it to look square, but we're also going to need to use a triangular cutting line because we're going to need the hair to get shorter towards the bottom of these sections, because at the back around the neckline it needs to be tighter for our clipper work to blend into again for our taper at the back. This is going to be pretty consistent section to section all the way through until we get to the corner, and then where we're needing to build a little bit more weight, we're going a little bit more horizontal. On the bottom half of the section we're going to go a little bit more vertical because we're going to need to lose some of the weight. So that's the beauty of triangular sections, you can lose the length but also build the weight at the top by using a mixture of over direction and elevation. You're always going to be using your previous section as the guide for the next section, and you're going to shuffle your body around when you start working to the back of the head so that you can keep those sections getting pulled straight out towards your chest. As you get to this area of the head at the top, you're probably going to notice that like a lot less hair is going to be coming off, and that's because the hair is travelling further to that side point there. So you're going to be retaining that length, and it's going to be the same at the back. We're going to be retaining the length on the kind of curve of the head from where the back of our box section is down to the occipital bone. We're going to be building a lot more weight there because that's going to give us that square look as well. It's also going to keep more length around the crown so that it actually flows back and we don't become a victim of our growth patterns where we're taking the hair super short and then all the hairs are going to stick up and they're going to be really hard to style. Visualizing this can actually be quite hard until you've done it a few times, because a lot of barbers will teach you like a number section, like section 1 into 2, 2 into 3, or 2 into 1, 3 into 2. But you know, each head shape's different, so using numbers on everyone's head individually, you know, it doesn't always make sense. So you'll get a feel for graduation, it'll start to click and it'll become easier and easier. For the top, we're going to use the back as our guide, and we're going to use that to dictate the length through our profile section here. We're going to do a pretty much square shape all the way to the front because we don't need to build too much length at the front there because it's already pretty long. And then we're going to use our profile guide to cut our sections horizontally. We had cut curtains previously into this haircut, which is why it almost looks like the sections are building up to like a triangle in the middle. For this haircut we're doing more of like kind of a quiff, kind of slick back, so we're just going to knock that corner off there and work our way all the way to the front. Something important to note is don't ever use the previous section as a guide, because it's going to be on different parts of the head. The head's going to round in different areas, so you always want to be using that profile guide as the guide because it's going to be congruent with each area of the head. You can see on this section the hair is kind of dipped a little bit forward, pulling his head back, but we're just using the profile guide there, so it's going to give us an even shape all the way through to the front. There we go guys, if you found this helpful, drop me a follow and comment what else you'd like to see, and I'll do my best to help you guys out. Thank you.